going on? Cruising Koozie here. So we're starting mods. I got a clutch fluid reservoir. I'll pop the hood and I'll explain why in a second. And then I also got a steel braided clutch line that I also heat wrapped. I don't even know how well you can see me right now. But yeah, I heat wrapped that because the biggest problem is the plastic line gets hot and then the clutch pedal gets, like, I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes it gets stiff, sometimes it gets really loose. So I just grabbed it and heat wrapped it so I don't have to worry about that at all. And I'll show you what the reservoir is for real quick. My engine bay is ridiculously hot. My car's been sitting for, half an hour. Here, let me come back with flash. Okay, so for the reservoir, right here, this is for the clutch fluid, goes into there, and there's the booster. And this line down here at the bottom is what that steel braided line's for. It goes all the way down and attaches to the transmission. But your brake booster and the clutch fluid, the booster's in there for the clutch, whatever that, or the slave, whatever the hell it's called, it's in there. But for this, it's all in one. And when you slam on your brakes over and over again, or even just like a long freeway drive and your brakes get hot, the fluid gets hot and then it really starts fucking with your clutch pedal. So I got the reservoir to separate it, so it's its own fluid, contains its own heat. And then same concept with this. I don't know what material this part is, and then halfway through it's just a really shitty plastic down under the car. I don't even know how well I'm gonna be able to film it. I probably should have backed into here too, because I don't have a lot of room right here. I need to invest in some struts so I can throw a towel up and let it rest up there like I did on the BMW, because I can't put this in its prop hole because I don't have enough room for that, which is gonna make this a little bit of a bitch. I'm not even gonna be able to set the tripod up so you guys can watch me do that. So I think I'm just gonna jump into it and explain or whatever as I go through. So before I go ahead and take that off, with the channel locks, you pop this guy into where that hose I just showed you's at, and then you slide this guy over it. I don't really trust the brake pressure, so I'm probably gonna use a hose clamp or something around this to hold it tight, and I'll show you guys that when I get to that part. But instead of the fluid sitting in the brake booster, it'll sit inside of this on its own, and you have to have the sound tube delete to be able to run this. I'll show you guys where it goes real quick. It goes right there, which that is where the sound tube used to sit. Gotta get rid of this guy. But yeah, the sound tube would bolt into this, and then it's pretty dark, but that little black cap is where it used to be, and it runs all the way up to here. I had a different video on that. I think it was the first thing I actually did to the car. But I'm gonna mount this up and get it all ready just so I don't have to worry about spilling any, or I mean, I'm still gonna spill, but spill not as much fluid. All right, so I have it in. It's not tight all the way. These guys are on hand tight, same with these guys. And there's that little plug I was talking about. That was a lot easier of an install than I thought it was gonna be. All I wanna say is be careful, because brake fluid, if you do get it on your paint, it's fucked. It's done. That cannot be painted ever again. It's very bad. The reason I say that is because brake fluid is hydrophobic, and the second it gets on the paint, it'll eat right through that paint, and then because it's hydrophobic, it'll just push water off like a ceramic coat. So you'll try and spray paint in that area, and it'll just bubble up. I still have the flash on in my face, I just realized that. But yeah, it'll bubble up, and it just won't stick to the paint anymore. Whoa, phone overheated, turn the flash off. But yeah, so make sure to get .3 or .4 brake fluid. I bought some .4 because .4 is rated for higher heat. You're gonna need to top this guy off. But now, flash isn't on right now, but that lower hose I showed you guys, I'm gonna have to pop that guy off, and then I'll probably zip tie him up for the time being so it doesn't leak a bunch, and then I'll jack the car up, hit the bottom one, and we'll go from there with that stainless steel one. I'm not gonna do like a full-blown install on how to do it, just because American Muscle has a video on it, and I'm pretty sure CJ Pony Parts has like 2 videos on it, and I know LMR has like 2 videos on it. So I mean, I can't do it any better than those guys. They got a lift and higher quality cameras, so I'm just gonna do a quick one. All right, so I just got it all unclipped. It's 2 little like C clips that you just gotta pop out, and you'll pull them right off. It's pretty easy. Fuck, that just spilled some more. Oh, I think that spilled under the car. I'm not worried about it. But I'll probably stop filming so I can route this out of here. But yeah, there'll be like a C-clip that holds the plastic piece to this over here, and then on the other one, the plastic piece stays on and it C-clips onto another plastic piece. Holy shit, that was a pain in the ass. The top side, super easy, but under the car where it mounts to the transmission, that was a bitch. The transmission was super hot. Hold on, I'm gonna set you guys down. I'll grab some sometimes, yeah. Where it attaches to the transmission is just scorching hot. It fucking, all I gotta say is that shit was burning me, so I was fighting it the whole time. And since the line wants to be straight, I was just fighting it, just non-stop. And then I got it on, and I went to put the C-clip on that holds it in place, and it popped off. So instead I did it the BMW way, where you put the C-clip on and you pop it on that way, and it worked like a charm. I have so many zip ties and I can't find the one size I need. I don't even know where I got this kit from, boys, but this is a lot of fucking zip ties. Now I can't even get them back in here. Fucking Christ. You can't hear the level of frustration in my voice currently. That shit pissed me off. I don't even think the camera's looking at me anymore. Just go in the damn tube. Fuck's sakes. Alright. Time to zip tie that line up out of the way so that it doesn't fall on the header. Top off some .4, and you gotta press the clutch pedal, they say 300 to 500 times before you go and drive on it, which is lovely. So lovely. So I think I might have routed it kind of crappy. Let me set these out of the way real quick. Use this light. So I have this wrapped up guy. Focus. Yeah, it's this wrapped up guy. It goes all the way around and down into there, and that blue wire it's sitting on is the O2 sensor. And over there it's just touching the top of the transmission, so I really need to just, damn dude, this camera does not want to focus. I just need to zip tie that to that PCV or whatever vacuum line maybe. I'll probably zip tie it up here to this brake booster, and it should be all right. And then I got to top this fella off and this fella from when I did this guy, because it lost a little bit of fluid. And then I'm gonna have, I'll just leave this cap off while I pump it, just to make sure, because I'm gonna have to keep topping it off for sure. There's a lot of clutch fluid missing right now. And then at that point, it's done, and I'll go for a drive and get a review, because apparently this is supposed to help with when you're shifting gears. It gets like a little, I don't know how to explain it, like not like good notchy, like a notchy where like you're kind of fighting it into gear, and then on top of that it gets the high RPM lockout. Apparently doing these 2 things helps tremendously with it. I was also told pretty much you need a clutch and a new flywheel to fully get rid of it, which I'll do later in time, because my clutch is apparently fine. I have a 100-day warranty on the vehicle through Carvana, and I brought it to Ford. They said they found absolutely nothing that needs to be replaced on the car. And then I took it to the Firestone by my house, because they're partnered with the Carvana I went to. They also said they found absolutely nothing, and that was earlier today. So we'll see. I'm using the crappy side of the camera right now. I don't really care. I just had to bleed the pedal, like press it like over 1,000 times. They always say, or like at least everything I've seen, the 300 to 500 times. I counted to 500. Still nothing. It took over 1,000. And I used like half a bottle of this. But I also think it might have been because I upgraded that reservoir. So I think I needed more air in the system to come out. Not fully sure. I probably should have waited till after I put it. But reservoir's in, stainless steel braided line, it's heat wrapped, zip tied up, so I don't have to worry about it on the headers. You really just don't want it to touch those headers down there or come in contact with the steering rack. And mine completely, it's hard to see, but it goes right down over the trans. So I'm gonna push the pedal, I don't know, maybe 50 more times, and then I'm gonna go take a shower, and I'll go for a drive, and I'll give a review on it, see if I stop getting the crunchy shifter feel, and see if my if I don't get the high RPM lockout anymore. I mean, honestly, my leg is so tired from pressing this, and I ended up getting a blister on my fucking hand from pushing it so many times, because it took at least 800 to even get it to a point where I didn't have to use my hand anymore. Fuck, that shit burned me out. I'm tired. Yeah, but just gonna press it a little bit more, go inside, and take a shower, and I'll be back. All right, so I went driving for a little bit. I just drove right down the street. I'm about to drive back down the street again because the store I went to, I forget, closes at 10 now instead of fucking 11 like it used to. I'm rolling back for 2. But holy shit, I was not expecting to feel that big of a difference in the clutch. I wonder if it just needed a clutch bleed in general, because now that it's in a separate reservoir and I put it into the stainless steel line, I'm almost positive all the fluid is been replaced now. Like, it's like as if I did a complete flush, and the pedal feel is night and day different, and even the engagement feels different, which is weird. I was not expecting that, but fluid does pass through the throwout bearing, so that could be a reason why. But I have not experienced any high RPM lockout yet. It feels way better, and I haven't felt the crunchiness either. I probably shouldn't have just done that right where I was. There's normally some cops over there. But I mean, you guys just saw me blow through the gears just now. The fucking shifter alone has not felt this good since I've owned the car at all, which is weird because that really shouldn't have anything to do with the shifter, but that makes me think that I was having the clutch stick that people talk about. It got rid of the crunchiness, and so far I have not had high RPM lockout, so I mean, I think I'm good. I've been like pushing through the pedal I normally coast in neutral when I come down to any like street light or stop sign or anything like that. So I've just been pumping the pedal, coming down into lights, and I feel like it gets a little bit stiffer as the time goes on, but even in general, the pedal feels stiffer than it did to begin with. Yeah, like I feel like I gotta relearn the engagement now. Fucking chirping tires on my 2.3s. I mean, I kind of already did that anyways. But yeah, I'm gonna run into the store real quick. I don't even know how close this looks. It's just sitting on the steering wheel. Maybe I'll scoot my seat back a little bit. But yeah, no, so number one reason for steel braided line is the clutch stick issue. And then on top of that, the like the best way to describe it is like track use or like drag use, anything where you're heavily just on the clutch changing gears non-stop, right? The fluid starts to get really hot, and since it's a plastic line, it starts to expand and expand and expand, and then the pedal gets looser and you don't get as much of a grab for your clutch engagement. So when you do the steel braided line, it can't expand because it's a steel braided line. And that's also why I put the heat wrap around it, to even lower the possibilities of that fluid getting hot and expanding. And then on top of that, I did the external reservoir, because when you're heavily on the brakes, even freeway driving, and obviously the track and drag use, your brake fluid starts to get hot. And since the clutch was routed into the brake fluid reservoir, it gets hot as well, causing that same issue where it gets loose and you don't bite as hard anymore. So when I put that to the side, now it doesn't do that, because it's its own entity. It only gets heat from obviously the ambient temps of the motor and what the clutch heat is actually producing. So to also add to that, I added .4 brake fluid, which has a higher boiling temp than fucking .3. Obviously the temps are still gonna hit the same, but since its boiling point is a little bit higher, it's just like a safety, just be careful, just be sure, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry about it. And fucking Jesus, I forgot what I was gonna say after that. But after separating all of those to prevent heat, and then the steel braided line, obviously you get a better clutch feel no matter how hard you beat on it. I notice it just driving to work, sitting at 85, 80-ish miles an hour for 30 minutes straight. By the time I get to work, the clutch feels like shit, and I can feel it slipping when I'm getting off the freeway to get back onto the main road to get to work. When I'm going through first, I feel the pedals start like kicking back at me a little bit. So I really won't know for sure until Sunday how much bigger of a difference that it actually makes. But just for me beating on it for the 20-ish minutes that I haven't noticed anything whatsoever. I've grabbed gears as hard as possible, and it hasn't locked out on me, which was starting to become a thing for me. It wasn't when I first got the car, but then after I've had my car for a month now, it started to do it mainly on 2.3, 3.4s. Whenever I would just dump that clutch for the next gear, I would be forcing it into fucking fourth and trying to really push it into third, and nothing would happen. But that has not happened to me yet. It happened to me in second once. So I mean, but not with this setup, just prior to this setup. So really it's just like a peace of mind upgrade, and then on top of that you get a little bit better of clutch feel. I mean, I also have the Steeda 85-pound clutch spring rather than the OEM 195-pound, I think it is, spring. So I get a little bit better of a clutch feel. The pedal's not as stiff because of it, but I feel the engagement better. And after I did this, and it's technically a full clutch fluid bleed, I definitely feel way better engagement. I notice in the pedal where I need to be releasing now to get like a perfect bite, even when you're not flooring it. So that is a benefit. And I haven't had the like notchiness of popping them into gears like it. You guys can't see, but like I'm rowing through the gears right now with the clutch in, and it feels pretty damn smooth. Before it would get pretty crunchy. Like I would try to put it in, and like the best way I can describe it is when you're going too fast, and when you try to shift into first on these cars, it has like a lockout, and it makes it really hard to push through. Even if you're doing like 25, it'll do it. It's like a safety mechanism, I think. I'm pretty sure, because it only does it when I'm above 25. After that, it's stupid easy to put in. It'll make all the gears kind of feel like that, but it also feels like, the best way I could describe it is like there's metal or some shit in the way trying to block you, and it gets like a grindy feel. Like the gears aren't grinding, the shifter itself like crunches in, and I have not noticed that once since I've done this. But like I said, the best way for me to fully get a feel for it will be on Sunday when I drive to work in 120 fucking degree weather for half an hour straight. Damn, I can't really film it because there's a tree in the way, but the moon is fucking bright orange, like orange. It's weird. But I mean, this is definitely worth it for a mod. I would say that clutch spring, the separate reservoir, and the stainless steel clutch line, no matter if it's McLeod, SVE, and I can't think of the other. I think Steeda has one, but don't quote me on that. Doesn't matter which brand. I went with SVE just because SVE is also the one who did my clutch fluid reservoir, so it kind of made sense to pair them together, I guess. But it's worth it, 100%. I highly recommend getting both of them and just doing them at the same time. You're already there, you already got to fill up your brake fluid, and you're obviously the reservoir or whatever, because it runs off brake fluid. I mean, you're already there, so you might as well do them both at the same time. Kill two birds with one stone, right? But I think that's gonna be it for now. I've done quite a lot of talking. I didn't really show the install just because, like I said before, there's just so many really good videos on it that I don't really need to. But for me, a lot of people were like, oh, 300 to 500 presses of the pedal, you'll be good. Like, forums say it, all the videos say it. It definitely took me more like 1,000 presses of the pedal before it started kicking back at me correctly, because I counted to 300, stopped counting, and still was pushing the pedal almost an hour later. So I think it's cap. But it could be the video I watched before, like the guy sped it up and he was like, yeah, that was 200 or 250 or some shit like that. So I think that was just for me, because I did the reservoir as well, so it was just everything was empty, so I had to flow a lot more. But if you're not doing the reservoir, then I assume it'd be more like 200-300 presses of the pedal. But this is the beginning of some performance mods, I guess, because as I said in previous videos, I'm not going to go too crazy yet. Give it like a year before I start doing really crazy stuff. For now, it's just going to be more of like peace of mind mods and trying to bulletproof everything else on the car before I go crazy, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm kind of torn between doing a short throw shifter or these lowering springs, because I'm going to hold off on coils for a little bit, just because I'm not sure what route I want to go suspension wise or coils. I want to do more research on that. So I might go with the short throw shifter just because it's like $40 cheaper than springs. So I don't know, we'll see where it goes. I mean, I just got a raise at work, so parts will be definitely coming in quicker than they used to, because I'm gonna be making more money. So yeah, that's gonna be all though. Thanks for watching, and you have a great rest of your day, night, whatever. There's that orange moon I was talking about.